Hello, everybody. Welcome to Friday night. I'm Daniel Ravanelli, Big D from 505 Cigar Review Show, here with your Friday night exclusive for Student of the Leaf. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you had a great week. Well, today we're going to do another discussion. Like last week we talked about the Aurora family. This week we're going to talk about one of the, I guess, they're referred to as cigar royalty. We're going to be talking about the Fuente family today. Yes, there you go. What do y'all know about the Fuentes? Some of you know they make really expensive cigars, but that wasn't always the case. Those cigars really didn't become expensive until the late 90s. But there's a long, rich history with the Fuente family that dates back to the early 1900s with Arturo Fuente creating cigars after he left Cuba and settling in Tampa and really making only a regional cigar that used Cuban tobacco because, well, you could get Cuban tobacco at that time. And a fire struck in the 1920s, basically wrecked the family, but it didn't deter them. They continued to persevere and move forward. And by the 50s, they had rebuilt what was their brand. And Carlos Fuente Sr., basically after his father passed the business on to him, which he bought from his dad for $1 and about $1,100 worth of cigars and no debt. Bought that. Felt that the only way that the brand was going to survive was having to move out of the Tampa and expand. So he went to New York City to try and build a brand from the Hispanic community. And deemed successful and continued to expand to Chicago, to Texas, all the way to try and build that. Then when the Cuban embargo hit, you couldn't get Cuban tobacco anymore. So they had to think about, well, what are we going to do? And, they tried checking out places in Honduras and Mexico to try and build a factory to try and recreate the tastes that were coming from these original sticks. And so they found what they were looking for in Esteli, Nicaragua, and built a factory. And that empire was expanding. But then during the Nicaraguan Revolution, the factory was burned down. So now twice they have now come down to having their factory burned down and losing everything. So Carlos Sr. and Jr. basically mortgaged the house, took loans out, and moved all the operations to where they currently are now in the Dominican Republic, and started from scratch. That's one of those things that we always talk about. And since they're one of the older brands that's still out there, they tend to, especially since they produce some of the most expensive cigars you can purchase out there. And I'm not even talking about their core line. The core line stuff that they manufacture is inexpensive, and it's delicious. I'm talking about the expensive stuff, where they're at now. So in the 90s, that brand that Opus X, came out in the mid-90s. And that was based on Carlito's vision that we could take basically the same tobacco that we're using now and market it as higher end and sell it at a premium price. Because there are people out there who only smoke expensive cigars. That's who they are. We can market this to them and it deemed to be successful. Expensive, using higher quality tobacco, and then parking it and going, it's $25 and we only made 500 of these. And it's one of those trends, but they've also worked out deals with other companies out there to manufacture their cigars. If you're a fan of Ashton, well, they manufacture the Ashton cigars at the Fuente factory in the Dominican Republic. J.C. Newman, they have this working relationship out there. Some of the cigars that J.C. Newman puts out are made by Fuente. The machine rolled cigars and the tins of Fuente cigars are made by J.C. Newman, and they've collaborated on a bunch of other different sticks out there. The Diamond Crown series, for example, on that. They've gotten involved in watches. They've diversified out everything that they have manufactured. Smart. That's why they're out there. And then in the mid 2000s, 2008 to around there, 2008 to 2010, they got this label as, well, they are the royalty of the cigar world. Everything comes through Fuente. And I have to say, I disagree with that. Now, they do make good sticks, but their higher end sticks, the Opus X's out there, for example, I compare them to Cuban cigars. Highly inconsistent, expensive, and you tend to be left disappointed. Same with Cuban cigars. Now, I'm not saying that all Cuban cigars are bad. There are some good cigars out there, but the consistency is the issue. I've smoked way too many high-end Fuentes that I've had problems and issues with. Are they worth the money? No. Are there some out there that are? Yes. And for a lot of you newer smokers out there, you're told you have to smoke an Opus X. It's the unicorn out there. You have to spend that money. Now, it's an experience like a Cuban. Buy one. Seriously, buy one. It's an experience like a Cuban. Could be good, could be bad. Now, there are some X's out there that I think are fantastic and are really good and are consistently good. And there are others out there that I'm just left meh. But don't let that deter you from spending that kind of money. So let's continue on here with that. So, really, at this point now in the brand, Carlito's daughter runs everything. He is more of just the personality that's out there. He's more of, hey, this is the brand. I am the brand. His daughter kind of runs everything. She runs the show. He kind of goes out there and does all the promotion and goes out on the social media, does all the media tours. He's the face of the company. They manufacture for consumer use almost 50 million sticks a year. And that goes out worldwide. Now, the United States consumes the vast majority of those sticks. But, and a vast majority of those are also the core line sticks, which are fantastic. You know, the limited stuff that comes out from Fuente, I tend not to buy. Now, don't get me wrong, I buy the X's a lot because the resale value on them is significantly higher. They're not usually a stick that I smoke a lot of. The Lost City is one that I buy a lot and I really like because it's a delicious stick. And has a great story behind it too. The Anejo, the Queen Bee, The Don Carlos line, like I'm smoking now. Those are all sticks that I tend to buy a lot of because they're good and they're consistent. But for the other stuff, nah, not really. I also compare, some of them I've compared to other sticks if you watch my channel. You've got to take it in stride and how you want to deal with it. Are they really royalty? Well, that Carlito is out there a lot. They manufacture a lot of sticks. They have a lot of hype around their sticks to be one of the leaders and at the forefront of the cigar industry. It's a name, and it's a name that is synonymous. You can go into any brick and mortar store. Fuente probably has one of the biggest displays. It's in a prime location. A lot of stores, right when you walk in the humidor, you're bombarded by Fuente. Okay? Now, some stores do their stuff based by name, so they're going to be, when you walk in, it'll be the first one you see because Arturo Fuente. Some, it's right up front. Why? Because they want you to be enamored by what you see. That's just smart business tech. They do make fantastic sticks, and don't get me wrong, and don't think that I'm thinking badly about Fuente. My question to you, the viewers out there watching, do you consider them cigar royalty? And if so, why? I consider them one of the leaders in that cigar industry. I don't consider any one brand to be royalty. Untouchable. I don't. But I consider them to be one of the leaders in the industry. What they have done, the historical aspect of the cigar. They are one of the legacy brands that are out there. And don't think that I'm discouraging you from dropping $25 on a stick. I'm just telling you, it's an experience. If you've never smoked one, get one. Smoke it and you'll see. Some will be better than others, and some you will consistently buy. But you've got to be willing to want to spend that money on it. And are you willing to do that? Yes or no? So, in the comments, I'd like to know your thoughts. What are your thoughts on Arturo Fuente? Do you consider them cigar royalty? Well, do you actively pursue their high-end line? The Opus X, the Eye of the Shark? What has been your experience with them? I told you mine. I tend to have a lot of inconsistencies with the higher-end Fuentes. The core line Fuentes never have a problem. They're always good, always consistent. They taste great. And then finally, what is your favorite Fuente stick? Everyday stick, for me, favorite Fuente is the Queen Bee. Favorite probably overall Fuente stick would probably be the Anejos when they come out. I always buy them, and they age perfectly. Fuente sticks tend to not age very well, especially the higher end stuff. But the Anejos age perfectly, and I love the Anejos. And the Lost City from Opus X. That's one that I consistently buy when I can find them and get them, because it's always consistently good. And it's been probably the most consistent high-end Fuente stick I have purchased. So what is your favorite Fuente stick? I'd like to know. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me this Friday night. Little discussion, little topic. What are your thoughts on Fuente? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you guys. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me. Make sure here on Student of the Leaf you like and you smash that subscribe button for Trey and give this a big old thumbs up. And then head on over to my channel, 505 Cigar Review. And make sure you go subscribe to my channel. 5 shows come out a week, mostly reviews. But we're going to start venturing out into some other stuff as well coming up here shortly. And follow me on Instagram, 505_cigar_review. That's it for this week, guys, for Student of the Leaf. I'm Big D, Daniel Ravanelli for 505 Cigar Review. Y'all take care. Be safe out there. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. And as always, peace out.